Hi, how you doing? I want to get some tips on some things that I'm working on. You can see I'm on YouTube. And so it's concerning Node.js and using Node.js for your web server. Okay, now what I'm currently doing is I've been working on learning Node.js because I'm interested in live data streaming and things you can do with Node.js you can't do, with like PHP or with Perl or you know, um, other scripting languages. Okay, and so currently what I'm doing is just to show you a little example. Uh, I'm moving files around on my web browser. Okay, so you can see right now I have it. My Node.js as one of my favorites. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm basically just removing it, and then I'm moving it to Node.js YouTube, organizing things, and but anyway, and then I validate, that I have it in YouTube, because there's a lot of learning involved in using Node.js, which is JavaScript based, and if you know JavaScript, there's some things that you don't necessarily have to worry about when it comes to Node.js. All right. And so when you install Node.js on your computer, okay, which I'm not going to get into that right now, um, what happens is that you may have it installed, but how do you use it? What do you do to use Node.js? Okay, so if you go to YouTube, you can find install Node.js on your current web server. And that is the process that I'm looking at and have already done. Okay. And now here's where the tip comes in that I want to share with you concerning installing Node.js on your web server. Now, Node.js, the applications and everything that you find out there are insecure. Okay, you have your basic server configuration. It wouldn't be like uh, Apache or XAMPP or other applications, Winamp, that you might be using. And so, you want to make sure what you do is secure. And so the first thing is that you need to do as a web administrator, your own administrator of computer systems or whatever you're doing, is the first thing you want to do is you want to go into your router, okay, and configure your ports on your router, your modem, and etc. However your system's set up, you want to configure those and add the ports, okay, um, and that way. When you add the ports, your router will already be set up, okay? And so that's really the first thing you want to do. So like I think it's 3000 is one of the ports that they like to use. Another one is 8080. Now if you use if they have you set up to use 8080, then you're going to have a problem, because if you're running a server on 8080, then you're going to have a conflict. So what you need to do then is go into your command prompt and type in the command necessary, which I can't remember right offhand. I have to look it up. But it'll be a netstat command where you can find out what the open ports are on your computer that are already in use. So that way, when you go into your router, okay, when you go into your router, you don't have to worry about port conflicts, okay, because you want to have your port conflicts correctly set, okay. And then the other issue is when you're dealing with the uh, when you're dealing with what we're talking about is that let me stop here so I can think. You also want to make understand that the basic HTTP server module for Node has no security for logging and things, and so you're going to have to work with creating your own logging applications with JavaScript within the Node environment. Now, if you install the JS node on your computer, and then you create files within your HTTP server and do things that way, okay, Then you can run Node.js on your HTTP server. In terms of form input data, getting form input data, you can use that in what you already have for your form data to perform your MySQL functions or Maria database functions or whatever you've been doing, because the main objective, is dealing with data and data streaming until you can finally get the code and rewrite the server yourself. And that's my approach to doing things. That way, I'll have no problem in getting things done correctly. So anyway, that's the beginning of this thing right here. Okay, so first you need to realize that once you get it installed, the second step is to install Node.js on your server. You can find an example of that on YouTube. Okay, that's how I learned about it. And then once you get it installed, okay, you have a lot of npm packages. Now this is another major concern. A lot of npm packages, the majority of them that I have tried to install have errors that provide security risks. So that's another reason why I have chosen to kind of create a hybrid form and using my already existing web server and installing Node.js on it until I have time to rewrite those scripts to deal with those security issues. Okay, and there's a large learning curve in doing this, but then you can combine the two to do data streaming and stuff like that for like webcam capture, multi-chat applications and stuff like that, and that's the direction that I'm currently going. And so configure your router for the necessary ports, your modem, cable modem, whatever you're using, however you're set up on what all routers, that you have. You need to, configure those ports, that way you can use them. Okay. The other thing is when you do your main index page on your website, you want to make sure you know where that index page is getting a request from, your HTTP request. Okay, now if you don't want anyone to access that web page but you have it out on an open port, okay, let's say 8080, because that's the default for the HTTP server in Node.js, then what you want to do is create a redirect to redirect them somewhere else to an existing website that you have. That way they cannot access that website, and it will give you a measure of security there. All right, and then you'll have to also log, create a log specifically for that web page, that when they access it, you log the IP and etc. on who tried to access it, and then you can monitor your HTTP server logs in your normal server to determine if any hacks are being done while you're building your development environment. This is David Cherry, and I just want to say thank you, and I just thought I would share that with you for this particular thing.